10th anniversary since you won Idol and released your debut album. Since then, you've experienced a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
If you could go back and relive one of those firsts, what would it be and why?
I do think that I think listening to the Vicar Diamond was really the first time. I think that was a first that it all happened really fast, and there was so much happening in those first couple months after I was on the show. Nothing ever felt real. Nothing ever felt like important enough, even though it was. I think I don't know what it was. I don't know if I didn't feel like I maybe deserved some of that, those things that happened, because they did happen so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I'd love to relive that, because you don't get to do that again. You don't ever get to hear your song on the radio for the first time. Like you might hear a song on the radio. I could write another song and it ended up on the radio. But like the first time, that feels like a pretty special thing. So I'd love to relive that.
Do you think when you look back at your American Idol journey, you'll share that with your kids as they get older and show them like your journey on the show?
I think I will. I think no matter what, they'll find out, and they'll probably go searching themselves and find things and probably make fun of me for a lot of different things. But I think that it might feel kind of foreign to them whenever they're old enough to realize what happened, because like the world is changing, and Idol might not even be around. I mean, it's back, but who knows how long it's gonna last. I hope it lasts for a long time, but I don't know. I think it's if they have questions, I'm not going to answer them for them.
What would you say to your kids if they want to follow a similar career path?
I think my parents were really great at how they encouraged me. So I'd probably take a lot of what they did. They were never too pushy. They let me fall in love with music on my own. They would buy me stuff. They would buy me guitars, and my dad would buy me pedals and an amp, and he would take me to the guitar store and let me try stuff and just play around. And we would listen to stuff, and they would let me play in my room as loud as I needed to, without ever being like, "Hey, that's too loud." And I think they never made me practice, or like, if you want to do this, this is what you got to do. They just kind of let me do my own thing and kind of just fall in love with music. And so I've tried to do that with my kids already. My son already has some sort of, I think he's got like an ability about him, at least like musically, and the way he sings, his pitch is perfect. It's crazy. And so I've tried to be like, buddy, I tried to just encourage him. You sound great, bud.
Yeah.
And because I don't want him to be shy or like be afraid to showcase his talent.
You just released 10, and it's you reimagining a couple of songs that you've done in your catalog and then also on Idol. Which was the most challenging to kind of reinvent, and which was your favorite too?
My favorite to reinvent from that record was probably Everybody Just Wants to Dance. I wanted to do something from the album Horizons, and I didn't know which one to do. And I thought, like, what if I did a different take on that song? I was like, what could make that sound like a little more groovy? So coming up with, there was like a riff that I came up with that was completely like separate, almost felt like a different song almost. And I felt like it slowed down, but it also felt like it moved along quicker. It was interesting. I feel like the way that we did it almost makes it feel more fun, And so I really enjoyed doing that one. The hardest one to do was I Need to Know. That song is an anomaly in itself in that the way that I recorded it here in New York City actually. And the way that I recorded it, it was a crazy night, and we were up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I laid on the floor and recording that song. And the vocal take on the original recording is not great, but I could never get the emotion again. It always felt like too clean or something. And then when I wanted to do it again, I was like, I'm gonna redo this vocal and it's gonna be great. I recorded that stuff in my house, and I think I did it like 25 times, and it was, man, I can't redo this song, which is so weird. And then the very last thing that we did was I was like, I'm gonna try that one more time, and then that's the take that you hear, and it felt really good.
What was that process like, deciding which songs would make 10?
Yeah.
Because you've got a wide catalog.
Yeah, I've had like 4 or 5 albums now. I don't even know. I wanted to do a lot from the first record, so I knew the 5 that I wanted to do from the first record. Because the rest of them, I felt like I just didn't want to showcase. I didn't want to break those down, but the 5 that I did do, Written All in My Face, The Letter Down, Red Guitar, I Need to Know, and Before We Come Down, I was like, those songs have always been able to live on their own, like at their core. And so I was like, I'm gonna do those. The other ones, I wanted to do one from each record, and then Song for You was my audition song that I did on the show. And then when I was actually looking at that too, like the very first verse of that song is so like my life. And so I was like, this is perfect. So let's start the whole thing off with that.
When you look back at your Idol journey, like what sticks out to you? I know you've said in previous interviews that kind of like leading up until the live shows, you were kind of like not shown as much as other contestants.
Yeah.
Like, what were your expectations like heading into that competition?
I had no expectations. And that's probably why I did well, is because I wasn't putting anything on it. Like, life was good before I was on the show. I was playing music that was regionally, and who knows what would have happened after that. But I wanted people to see me enough to where it was like, oh, this makes sense that I quit college, and it like makes sense that I've got enough of a thing now that I can go and do my own thing now. And so yeah, I didn't really have any expectations.
When you look back at that past decade, is there a particular moment that like stands out to you?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. There's shows here and there. There's like getting to meet people. There's opening up for certain people. I don't know. I don't know if that moment has happened yet. To where I'm like, and obviously a lot has happened.
Yeah.
I think because of the way that my career has happened, that it's hard to like grasp all the things that I should have celebrated at the time, you know, because that all happened. All the big, huge stuff happened so fast, so I wasn't ready for it.
When you look back at the past decade or so, what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
I had this quiet confidence about myself that I back then, and I think this was a good thing, but I had this quiet confidence that I'm good. I'm like good enough for all of this. I'm good enough to be on TV. I'm good enough to do all these things. And now I look back and I'm like, you were not. I mean, I ended up doing well, but like my talent was there, but like the skill level that I have now is you just learn a lot when you're in the music industry over 10 years, you know, and you learn like what it takes, and I did not know those things. I was pretty naive to all those.
So you've kind of like developed this signature pose on your album covers. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Oh, it's side, yeah.
Where you're just looking sort of to the side. I remember like how many fans have like pointed that out to you, and if you know which album cover that you're not actually doing that on.
The Horizons I'm not, but
Yeah.
you also can't see my face either. And that was intentional. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something about, I don't know, maybe I just don't like to look straight into the camera or something. It's some weird, I don't know.
You're on the 10 years and one night tour right now, and it feels like very much a celebration of like your journey with fans. What was the kind of the concept of this tour, and what can fans expect when they come to one of these shows? You're very early on it.
Sorry, I said again, I'm sorry.
So,
On the 10 tour.
you're on the 10 years, one night tour.
Yeah.
Feels very much like a celebration.
Yeah.
Not only your journey, but thanking the fans too. How did you what was that journey like putting together the concept of this tour, the set list?
I kind of spent a lot of time just thinking about it. Thinking about what I wanted this tour to be and what, what's the point of me doing this? What's the point of me doing this 10-year tour if I'm just going to go out there and play songs for people from the past 10 years? I was like, that's not what I want this to be. I want this to be a gift. I wanted it to feel like a gift to the fans to show my gratitude.
How challenging is it for you now? Like 10 years ago, you weren't a father of three, to be on tour and away from your family. How do you kind of balance that?
FaceTime is great. That helps, you know. It is hard though. It's becoming harder and harder now. I have 3 kids. It's gonna get even harder now. There's a lot of logistical things that we got to figure out now. That's hard. I'm not that guy. I'm not a logistics guy. So, but having to kind of make a really good dad and make sure that, and I try not to be away for too long at a time. Remember last summer I did that Idol tour.
Yeah.
I was gone for 3 months, almost straight. My kids came and hung out with me for 3 or 4 days in the middle of it, and I felt bad. I felt bad I was gone for that long. That didn't feel right. It really messed with me. I didn't want to tour for a long time, and so yeah, I just think it's figuring out how, because I can't not be on the road. I obviously could, but I think that I have to be. It's part of what I do. It's part of how I connect with people. I love doing live shows. But yeah, it's just trying to figure out the logistics of it.
When you look back at the last 10 years, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned along this journey? What's probably surprised you the most?
I think the thing that has surprised me, early on was how time-consuming this job is. I think we all have this idea of what a musician is going to be, and it's like, oh, you play guitar and you sing, that's all you got to do. It's so much more than that, and I've had to learn that. I'm still learning that. I'm still learning how to do other things and create in other ways that are still part of of what I do, like designing. I designed the tin record, and I've never designed anything before, but it being getting creative in those ways, and there's just a lot that happens. This is a 2-part question. What was the other part?
The biggest lesson that you've learned.
Biggest lesson that I think it is. I don't know if this is the biggest lesson, but this is one of the lessons that I've learned, is that I do have something to say, and I shouldn't be afraid of that.
And then as you look ahead to the next couple of years, can we expect more new music?
Yeah.
I know you're constantly writing on the road. Anything you can tease about that?
So I've got a batch of songs that I'm really excited about, and I'm excited for people to hear them. I didn't get to play any of them tonight, but for the most part, I have been playing new songs on this tour. and it's kind of just finding a team and like the right people to help bring that music to life.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. I think I'm on a journey that I want to create the greatest thing I've ever made, and not just put songs out there just because, like actually creating things that will last. I'm putting a lot of pressure on it, and maybe too much, but I think that's my job though. And so, yeah, there's definitely new music on the horizon.
Do you think later on in the tour you'll test out those new songs on the road? I know
Yeah.
you're pretty early on right now.
Yeah, I played the first. This is the third show. The first
Yeah.
2 shows, I played a new song, and because I think that's the only way to gauge what a song is and how like it's going to be perceived. And I think for the most part, people really liked that song. I tried a couple different ones.
One last question: how much of the audience response influences what you put on the record?
I think it does. It is very like indicative of what goes on on the records, but there's also plenty of songs that I never played for anyone that ended up on records. I don't think I ever played. I'm trying to think if there was a song from Letting You In that I ever played before it actually came out. I don't think I played any of those songs out live, and they all ended up on the record. And I think I really like all those songs. So I think you know when you know.
Yeah.
You know, I've written a lot of stinky songs, and so I think when a good one comes along, I'm like, okay, yay.